I think we should start. Good morning, Excellencies, dear colleagues, dear friends. I would like to welcome you to the kickoff of the European Union Kosovo Justice Sector Programme. Let me briefly introduce myself. My name is Volkmar Theobald. I am the team leader of the project, and I will try to guide you through our today's event. Before I will tell you a little bit more about our project, let me briefly welcome our speakers. So there is the head of the European Union Office and Special Representative, Ambassador Tomáš Szunyog. From the IRZ, we will have the General Director, Mrs. Frauke Bachler, and our colleagues from the beneficiary institutions. From the Ministry of Justice, there will be Mrs. Pranvera Eyupi, the permanent coordinator of the ministry for our project. We will have the head of the Kosovo Prosecutorial Council, Mr. Jetish Maloku, as well the head of the Kosovo Judicial Council, Mr. Skender Churchai, and the director of the Kosovo Justice Academy, Mr. Enver Feyzullahu. They will all give us the honor to speak today in the kickoff. Now, allow me to briefly tell you a bit about the project. Project started in October 20, and right now we have more or less finalized our inception phase, produced an inception report and a work plan, which will be presented this afternoon in our first steering committee meeting, where most of you are invited to as well. Now, what are we going to do? The overall objective of our project is to reform the justice system in line with European and international standards. Our approach is need-oriented, and it shall serve the justice sector and, of course, Kosovo's citizens, first of all. We have divided our project in 4 specific objectives. We want to strengthen the capacities and the interinstitutional coordination in the justice sector, of course, in accordance with the functional review and the rule of law strategy, which has been developed. We want to strengthen the independence, the impartiality, the accountability, the professionalism, the quality and the efficiency, and the transparency of the judiciary. We would like to further consolidate and align the legal institutional framework with the European legislation. And we want to improve the access to justice, especially for women and disadvantaged or marginalized groups. We will have 11 experts, national and international, in the team. So far, we are 9 experts. Another 2 will start their work as of 1 February. So those experts will focus on the following results. We want to have an interinstitutional coordination mechanism in place. We want to strengthen the capacities in the justice sector. The Structure and the organization of the MOJ shall be improved with the help of our project, as well as the capacities of KPC, KGC, the courts, and the prosecution officers. And of course, not to forget, the capacities of the KJA should be strengthened as well. We want to improve the infrastructure of the judiciary and further consolidate legal and institutional framework in line with the EU acquis. The monitoring and implementation of laws shall be strengthened, and the access to justice for all citizens shall be strengthened as well. All those issues will be addressed in the justice sector in a unified approach with the MOJ, the councils, and the academy. So that would be it from my side. I would now like to give the floor to the ambassador. Please, Mr. Ambassador, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Theobald and your team. Thank you very much, and good morning. Mrs. AUP, Mr. Chochai, Mr. Maloku, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to greet everybody who is following our online event today. It is a great pleasure for me to launch together with you this important flagship initiative to strengthen the rule of law in Kosovo. I want to thank our partners in the Ministry of Justice, sorry for technical hiccup. The Judicial and Prosecutorial Council and the Justice Academy, who took active part in the design and first months of this project. A special thanks go also to Mr. Theobald and his team for their considerable efforts to mobilize this big EU justice project in these challenging times. The rule of law is the foundation of a healthy society. Rule of law is essential for safety and security of every citizen. Without legal certainty, businesses cannot develop and grow. Citizens cannot live safely and secure prosperity for their family. Overall, the EU is investing about 50 million euro to strengthen the rule of law in Kosovo. This is a significant amount that we hope will bring tangible improvements in the coming years. Kosovo people have a right to expect independent and professional rule of law institutions in service to them. They have every right to expect from these institutions that they ensure their civil rights and fight corruption and organized crime efficiently. Kosovo needs a unified approach to address issues in the rule of law sector. Institutions should harmonize strategies and legislation and jointly work on implementing them. The enormous challenges in this sector in Kosovo just cannot be addressed in a fragmented and ad hoc manner, as it has been the case in the past. In this regard, the EU welcomes the last week the draft rule of law sector strategy has been put into public consultation. It is for the first time that Kosovo rule of law institutions have jointly developed such a strategy. In the EU, together with our international partners, we strongly supported this effort. And let me also praise the fact that subsequent Kosovo governments from different political orientation have shown strong bipartisan engagement in moving this process forward over the past years. We also hope that this will be the case with the government which will come into power after the elections of 14th of February. The strategy provides for concrete actions to increase integrity and performance of the anti-corruption mechanisms in Kosovo. It aims at strengthening the judiciary and prosecution, and ultimately at improving access to justice for all citizens. All these reforms are necessary in view of meeting EU Stabilization and Association Agreement requirements. Now, our new project that we are launching today will help provide an additional crucial contribution. The project has a budget of €7 million, and it will support the implementation of the rule of law strategy. The team will bring the best expertise from the EU member states to Kosovo. Germany, the Netherlands, and Croatia are jointly implementing the project. Our experts will work with the Ministry of Justice, the Judicial and Prosecutorial Councils, and Academy of Justice under one umbrella. The project is also coordinating very closely with the EULEX mission in Kosovo. EULEX's direct monitoring of cases and in-depth analysis of legislation allows for the identification of systemic and thematic issues that hamper the rule of law in Kosovo. EULEX findings will be precious to help assess the overall independence, professionalism, and transparency of judiciary in Kosovo. The reform that we are planning include the use of information and communication technology. Kosovo has already made some progress in this regard, for example, regarding the criminal record system. With EU assistance, all criminal convictions from 1999 to 2019 have been now digitalized. Once the new system is fully functional, citizens will have much easier and faster access to receive a reliable criminal record, for example, when applying for a job. The new system has just now again shown its use, assisting the Judicial Council in verification of criminal history of the candidates from the upcoming elections much faster than it was possible previously. The EU has also allocated additional €1.3 million to upgrade the information technology of justice institutions and supply the new Justice Academy with furniture and other items as required. We will work closely with the authorities and through this new project. Ladies and gentlemen, solid progress in the rule of law will enable reforms in all policy areas and will be acknowledged as crucial progress in Kosovo's European path. I trust that our new project will be able to provide a solid and lasting contribution to this endeavor. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ambassador. I would now like to give the floor to Mrs. Frauke Bachler, the General Director of the IRZ. Mrs. Bachler, please, the floor is yours.
Good morning, everyone. His Excellency Szunyog, His Excellency Rode, Her Excellency Lobizu, Her Excellency Barisic, Mrs. Ijupi, Mr. Kochai, Mr. Maluku, and Mr. Theobald. Last not least, dear ladies and gentlemen, IRZ is very honored and privileged to officially join in the kickoff of this project today. I feel very honored and privileged to do this as the General Director of IRZ. I am speaking also on behalf of our important and estimated consortium partners, the Ministry of Justice and Public Administration of Croatia, the Center of Legal Cooperation from the Netherlands, and partners of both organizations. All of our partners are taking part today. IRZ has been supporting Kosovo on its path to establish and foster the rule of law since 2001. There's a strong bilateral cooperation between Kosovo and Germany. It is financed by the Federal Ministry of Justice and Consumer Protection and the Federal Foreign Office. Germany supports the EU's Western Balkans strategy, and the Western Balkans are among our most important regions in the IRZ. So Kosovo is also in our focus. Our bilateral activities focus on criminal law, and in particular, juvenile justice. But in parallel, IRZ has carried out numerous important and successful EU-funded projects, technical assistance and twinning projects addressed to the Ministry of Justice, the Justice Academy, the Penitentiary Administration, and other important stakeholders in the judiciary and the justice sector. Also, our consortium partners, CILC and the Ministry of Justice in Croatia, as you mentioned, are well-known players in the country. All partners have already contributed to the ongoing reform process in the justice sector in Kosovo, and all partners have a good understanding of the specific circumstances, the history of judicial reforms, the specific challenges, and the high number of international partners and donors. A lot has been achieved already, and the legal framework is at a very high level. However, we are all aware of the diversity of ideas and concepts for the country, and they are not always uniform or consistent. Therefore, a comprehensive justice sector project for Kosovo is the right step at the right time. It can streamline and boost the dynamics of the reform process. And when we learned about this idea, we were eager to carry out this project. We are proud that we could successfully combine our expertise and experience for competing and being awarded with this project. We're proud and happy and thankful. This kind of sector reform represents a high responsibility. From our long-standing experience, we are well aware of the challenges, complexity of the project, its broad scope, the high number of stakeholders for whom and with whom we will be working. And as you mentioned, His Excellency, for the EU, this is a flagship project, and this means a high responsibility. We will have to be very visible, very transparent to Kosovo's civil society. This will be the case in the activities where we actively involve civil society groups and organizations. Also, in general, EucoJust will be critically monitored by the media, civil society organizations. We are aware that some of the project's initiatives and results might be discussed diversely. However, it is vital for a sustainable project to be monitored in this way. The work we do shall serve the people of Kosovo, as you mentioned it, Mr. Theobald. We will invest our energy, experience, and integrity to do this in the best possible way. Thank you on behalf of the consortium to Mr. Theobald, our team leader, and his team, which has just been composed during the past 2 months, for their tremendous efforts and the personal commitment of everyone to bring the project alive, especially as all this has happened under pandemic circumstances. Thank you to the EU office, to Mrs. Julia Jacobi as task manager for the great support and advice. Thank you to all our project beneficiaries, to the Ministry of Justice, the Kosovo Judicial Council, the Kosovo Prosecutorial Council, the Kosovo Justice Academy, and other stakeholders for their excellent contribution to the project planning during the inception phase. Thank you to our consortium partners. Thank you to my colleagues, Mrs. Thalhammer and her team, especially Mrs. Ahmeti. If EucoJust will be carried out in this spirit of openness and active cooperation, we are convinced that it will become a flagship initiative we can all be proud of. IRZ builds bridges. IRZ builds bridges between legal systems. IRZ builds bridges between legal practitioners, has been doing so since 1992. IRZ has been building bridges to Kosovo since 2001. Let us build bridges together. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you so much, dear Mrs. Bachler, especially for your nice words. I was just alerted to the fact that we have translation into Serbian and Albanian, and this can be received by pushing one dot, which is translation, so you can choose, if necessary, either Serbian or Albanian translation. Now we are very eager to hear the representative of the Ministry of Justice, who is our project permanent coordinator, Mrs. Pranvera Ayupi. Mrs. Ayupi, please, the floor is yours.
Good morning. Thank you very much, Mr. Theobald. I am Pranvera Ayupi, together today with my colleague Lulzim Bashiri from Ministry of Justice. Please let me proceed in Albanian my speech. Të nderuar ambasador Szunyog, Röde, Lobezau dhe Barishic. Të nderuar kryesues e këshillave Zoti Qoqaj dhe Zoti Maloku, i nderuar drejtor Fejzullahu, i nderuar Zotri Theobald, Zonja Bahler dhe Zonja Julia Jakobi, të nderuar pjesëmarrës tjerë që jeni duke na ndjekur përmes platformës online. Në pamundësi të pjesëmarrjes së ministrit në detyrë të drejtësisë, Zotit Selim Selimi, dhe me kërkesë të tij dëshiroj t'ju prezantoj fjalimin e drejtuar kësaj ceremonie lidhur me hapjen zyrtare të projektit Kosovo Justice. Në pamundësi të jem sot prezent para jush, po ju drejtohem përmes zonjës Ayupi në këtë ceremoni të hapjes zyrtare të programit të Bashkimit Evropian për sektorin e drejtësisë. Sektori ynë i drejtësisë gjatë viteve ka qenë përfitues i shumë projekteve ndërkombëtare. Projekte këto të cilat kanë ndihmuar në ngritjen e kapaciteteve e në reformimin e sistemit të drejtësisë. Shumë prej këtyre projekteve të cilat janë zbatuar janë financuar pikërisht nga Bashkimi Evropian, i cili ndër vite ka luajtur rol udhëheqës në përpjekje ndërkombëtare për ta përafruar Kosovën në standardet evropiane dhe ato ndërkombëtare. Megjithatë, projekti që tani shkurtimisht quhet Kosovo Justice është projekt i parë i cili bashkon aktorët kryesor të sektorit të drejtësisë. Ministrinë e Drejtësisë, Këshillin Gjyqësor, Këshillin Prokurorial dhe Akademinë e Drejtësisë në një vend e që për qëllim ka arritjen e përmbushjes së objektivave të tij. Ky projekt, i cili jo rastësisht në zhargonin tonë në ministri njihet si projekt i madh Bashkimit Evropian, është një prej projekteve më ambicioze dhe më të nevojshme për sektorin tonë. Është projekt i cili objektivat dhe aktivitetet e veta i ka qepur për t'i adresuar hollësisht nevojave dhe mangësitë e sistemit tonë të drejtësisë. Projekti Kosovo Justice i Bashkimit Evropian ka ardhur në kohën e duhur në sektorin tonë. Siç e dini, javën që shkoi, Ministria e Drejtësisë lansoi draftin e parë të strategjisë sektoriale për sundimin e ligjit për konsultime me publikun. Kjo strategji, e cila parasheh plot 450 aktivitete për gjithë sektorin e drejtësisë, ka për synim të fuqizoj sistemin gjyqësor e prokurorial, të forcoj sistemin e drejtësisë penale, të përmirësoj qasjen në drejtësi dhe të avancoj luftën kundër korrupsionit. Qysh prej fillimit të projektit, Ministria e Drejtësisë është përkujdesur që t'i përfshi dhe t'i mbaj të informuar ekspertët e Kosovo Justice me zhvillimet e procesit të rishikimit funksional, produkt i të cilit është kjo strategji. Analizat e ofruara nga ekspertët e projektit në kuadër të raportimit fillestar e dëshmojnë këtë. Ndaj, ne jemi të bindur se me mbështetjen e Kogjast, aktivitetet dhe objektivat e strategjisë sektoriale për sundimin e ligjit do t'i realizojmë së bashku dhe me sukses. Më në fund, më lejoni të shpreh mirënjohjen time për zyrën e Bashkimit Evropian në Kosovë, Fondacionin Gjerman për Bashkëpunim Juridik Ndërkombëtar IRZ, Qendrën Holandeze për Bashkëpunim Juridik Ndërkombëtar dhe Ministrinë e Drejtësisë së Kroacisë për punën e madhe dhe të palodhshme që kanë bërë për të sjellë këtë projekt në jetë. Dhe i uroj shumë sukses për punën edhe më të madhe që po i pret në muajt dhe vitet në vijim. Ne e vlerësojmë lartë rolin e zyrës së Bashkimit Evropian në Kosovë për asistencë që është duke ofruar për sistemin e drejtësisë në vendin tonë. Dhe njëkohësisht dëshiroj të theksoj se misioni i Ministrisë së Drejtësisë lidhet ngushtë me vazhdimin e ngritjes së besimit të shqiptarëve ndaj institucioneve të drejtësisë. Unë si Ministër i Drejtësisë shpreh gatishmërinë për kushtimin dhe mbështetjen tonë pa kusht në zbatimin e objektivave dhe aktiviteteve të projektit. Objektiva këto të cilat nuk kanë as dhe një dyshim të vetëm se do të dërgojnë në fuqizimin dhe përmirësimin e sistemit të drejtësisë në Kosovë dhe realizimin e aspiratave euro-atlantike të vendit tonë. Ju falemnderit shumë. Selim Selimi. Thank you very much. I hope that we combined a little bit in Albanian, a little bit in English. And thanks again from my side and my colleague here, Mr. Lulzim Beqiri.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Ayupi, and thanks to you, Mr. Beqiri, as well. And of course, please transfer our thanks to Minister Selimi. And I take the opportunity to apologize again that we were hampering your work by asking for so many meetings with our experts just to make sure that we do the right approach. And I'm very happy to hear from you your feedback that we more or less are on the right track. Thanks again. Now I would like to give the floor to the head of the Kosovo Prosecutorial Council, Mr. Jetish Maloku, who, as you all know, was elected just 1 week ago. So I even more appreciate his readiness to deliver a keynote here in our kickoff. Mr. Maloku, the floor is yours.
Faleminderit shumë. Nderuari ambasadori i Bashkimit Evropian dhe përfaqësuesi special në Kosovë, zoti Szunyog. Nderuari kryesuesi i Këshillit Gjyqësor të Kosovës, zoti Skënder Çoçaj. Nderuari drejtori i Akademisë së Drejtësisë, zoti Enver Fezullah. Nderuara koordinatore e Ministrisë së Drejtësisë, zonja Pranvera Jupi. Nderuar përfaqësues nga IRZ-ja dhe ju përfaqësues të projektit, të nderuar të pranishëm të tjerë. Ndihem i nderuar që në emër të Këshillit Prokurorit të Kosovës të jem i pranishëm në prezantimin e fillimit zyrtar të projektit Kogjast. Nga fillimi i hartimit të këtij projekti deri në këtë fazë që kemi arritur sot, është bërë një punë e jashtëzakonshme dhe koordinimi shkëlqyer ku janë përfshirë të gjitha institucionet e sistemit të drejtësisë, zyra Bashkimit Evropian dhe partnerë tjerë vendor e ndërkombëtar. Besojmë se ky projekt që po promovojmë sot, më të vërtetë do të avancoj dhe fuqizoj sistemin e drejtësisë në linjë me standardet evropiane dhe ndërkombëtare. Ne, si përfitues Mirpresim mundësinë që do të na afrojë ky projekt dhe shprehim bindjen tonë se me përkushtim do t'i shfrytëzojmë pozitivisht këto mundësi. Siç dihet, deri më tani, ky projekt synon të arrijë rezultate të fuqishme në fuqizimin e kapaciteteve të sistemit prokurial në çështje të ndryshme, si në planifikimin strategjik, krijimin e databazës elektronike për regjistrimin e rasteve disiplinore, fuqizimin e zhvillimit të procedurave disiplinore, fuqizimin e kapaciteteve të komisionit në proceset e performancës, specializimin e prokurorëve, zhvillimin e më të tjeshëm të administrimit, regjistrimit, sistematizimit dhe ruajtjes së lëndëve në sistemin e arkivimit, përkraje në mbledhjen, përpunimin dhe raportimin e statistikave sa më të sakta, si dhe në hartimin e akteve nënligjore të sistemit prokurial. Projekti veç ka kaluar fazën fillestare të vlerësimit të nevojave, duke zhvilluar takime me grupet e përfituesve, me rast janë diskutuar çështje sa i përket shkëmbimit të informatave me qëllim të vlerësimit të situatës aktuale dhe planifikimit të hapave të mëtejshme. Ne si Këshill, gjatë kësaj faze, jemi përkushtuar maksimalisht që të bashkëpunojmë me ekspert e projektit duke u ofruar informata të kërkuara në çdo kohë në të mirë të përfitive të dyanshme. Jemi të gatshëm që të fillojmë së bashku dizajnimin dhe hartimin e detajuar të aktiviteteve që do të implementohen. Kjo frymë e bashkëpunimit do të na përcjell deri në fund. Me ndryshimet e fundit ligjore dhe nënligjore, Këshilli po kalon në një fazë pozitive të avancimit të proceseve dhe fuqizimit të kapaciteteve. Vlen të përmendet reformimi i procedurave disiplinore dhe procesit të vlerësimit të performancës së prokurorëve. Andaj, ndihma që po jepet dhe që pritet nga ky projekt është shumë e rëndësishme për avancimin më tem të këtyre proceseve dhe shumë tjerave që mbulon ky projekt. Si kryesues i Këshillit Prokurial të Kosovës, them me bindje të plotë se jemi të angazhuar maksimalisht që të ofrojmë bashkëpunim të gjithanshëm udhëheqjes së projektit dhe ekspertëve të saj. Dhe presim që aktivitetet e projektit do ta fuqizojnë llogaridhënien, transparencën, profesionalizmin, efikasitetin, efektivitetin e sistemit prokurial. Dhe besoj shumë dhe shpresoj që do të dëshmojmë se vërtet jemi promovues të vlerave të cilat së bashku do t'i forcojmë. Krejt në fund, dëshiroj të falenderoj Bashkimin Evropian për financimin e projektit, përkatësisht zyrën e Bashkimit Evropian në Prishtinë, për menaxhimin e projektit, si dhe konsorciumin IRZ Gjermani, CILK Holland dhe Ministrinë e Drejtësisë së Kryeqësisë për zbatimin e tij. Ju falenderit dhe suksese juve.
Thank you very much, Mr. Maloku. I would now like to give the floor to the chair of the Kosovo Judicial Council, Mr. Skender Çoçay. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Theobald. I will speak in Albanian. Nderuar ambasador Tomáš Szunyog, nderuar përfaqësuesi faktikisht kryesuesi i Këshillit Prokurial zoti Maloku, e nderuara drejtoresha e përgjithshme e IRZ-s zonja Baver, përfaqësuesi i Ministrisë së Drejtësisë zonja Jupi, drejtori i Akademisë së Drejtësisë zoti Fezullau, zonja Julia, gjithë tjerë që jeni kyçur në këtë takim online. Është kënaqësi që marr pjesë në këtë takim të hapjes zyrtare të projektit Ekogjatë. Dëshiroj të theksoj se jemi mirënjohës dhe falenderojmë shumë Bashkimin Evropian dhe gjithë bashkëpunëtorët tjerë të këtij projekti, duke besuar se edhe ky projekt I ri do të vazhdojë të jetë ndihmues njëjtë sikurse edhe projekte tjera të Bashkimit Evropian për çka edhe ju jemi të mirënjohës. Misioni I Këshillit Gjyqësor të Kosovës është zhvillimi dhe vazhdimësia e një gjyqësori të pavarur që ofron shërbime gjyqësore të paanshme për gjithë që është funksionan në gjitha aspektet organizative dhe operative e krejt kjo në funksion të forcimit të shëndimit të ligjit në vendin tonë. Kështu Këshilli vazhdimisht është duke punuar në përmirësimin e performancës, efikasitetit, llogaridhënies, transparencës. Prandaj edhe jemi të hapur që të bashkëpunojmë si me partnerët ndërkombëtar ashtu edhe me partnerët tanë vendor. Bazuar në përshkrimin e përgjithshëm të objektivave të projektit tuaj, mund të them që objektivat tuaja ndërlidhen me të gjitha çështjet me prioritet përgjithësore, për të cilat sado që të punojmë gjithmonë do të kemi nevojë që të jemi të vëmendshëm dhe që kushtojmë një rëndësi të veçantë. Jam thellësisht I bindur që përmes këtij bashkëpunimi do t'ja dalim të realizojmë këto objektiva që janë forcimi ose ngritja e efikasitetit, forcimi I pavarësisë, llogaridhënies, transparencës e kështu me radhë. Andaj, në fund dëshiroj t'ju uroj sukses këtij programi dhe të ritheksoj edhe një herë se jemi gjithmonë të gatshëm për bashkëpunim që bashkërisht të realizojmë gjitha këto objektiva. Edhe një herë ju falenderoj dhe jemi mirënjohës për përkrahjen e vazhdueshme që Bashkimi Evropian e ka dhënë deri më tani dhe është duke dhënë për vendin tonë, por për sistemin e drejtësisë në veçantë. Ju falenderoj shumë.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chochai. Now, last but not least, I would like to ask Mr. Enver Feyzullahu, the director of the Kosovo Judicial Academy, for his contribution. Mr. Feyzullahu, please, the floor is yours.
Dear Mr. Volkmar, thank you very much. I'm very pleased to be in this open ceremony, kickoff ceremony. I want to really thank everyone here, particularly His Excellency Ambassador Tomáš Szunyog. Of course, Our Excellency, the Supreme Court Presiding Judge, Mr. Peci, which in the same time he's also the chair of the Justice Academy Steering Board, chair of KPC, Mr. Maloku, chair of KJC, Mr. Chochai, of course, the representatives from the MOJ, Ms. Pranvera and Lulzim as well. And dear other partners, excellencies, representatives of the embassies, we are very pleased and very honored to be part of this initiative. I will conduct my speech in English because it's much easier for me. And I think also our audience is much more presented, you know, from the international side. In addition, of course, I want also to thank also other donors, other international partners, and I'm seeing them here, particularly from the US Embassy, from the USAID, and all others. So, special greetings to our very good partner, Miss Julia Jacobi, which she was all the time supporting us and being with us. And all others, of course, I'm seeing here, Eric, I'm seeing, a lot of other people, Trime, that we have worked with. So, it's really a great pleasure. It's really a great honor being in this ceremony. But I'm very pleased to see here that all of us, we are joining our efforts toward strengthening the rule of law in Kosovo. So this project, this initiative, this reform, let me say that, is aiming to strengthen our capacities, to strengthen the rule of law, to promote their values, transparency, access to justice, accountability. But what is much more important is actually strengthening the learning, training. That is a part of all the activities and efforts that are taken. And this is, in line with all the activities and with all support that we have gained, since 1999. And in behalf of the Academy of Justice, I really want to thank you. Thank you for partnership. Thank you for including us. Thank you for helping us. Thank you for helping us strengthening our capacities, getting and exchanging experiences among all best practices, international practices. In that regard, of course, I want to really give my best regards and greetings to the consortium director of IRZ, Eric, that I'm seeing here, part of the CILC, and of course, Ministry of Justice of Croatia, their representatives. I think, this is a great opportunity. This is a great possibility. This is, sends a message that internationals together with the Kosovars, we're aiming to the best values to our system. And as Academy of Justice, I'm very honored and pleased, and please accept our commitment to work in this project, to help this project, to help our efforts, to strengthen our efforts, improving our trainings. This is what actually this program, this is what this reform is aiming. And one of that is, the training, methodology, trainers, quality of justice. This depends a lot from the training. This depends a lot from exchanging experiences and exchanging the best practices. So as all my predecessors, they said, I'm in line with them. So in the end, I want really to thank you and appreciate for the continuous support, continuous help to the Kosovo Justice Institution. In bottom line, to our citizens, which they deserve the best. So thanks once again, and we're really pleased and hope to implement this project as much as we can. There is a lot of work to be done, and there is a little time. So we'll need a lot of efforts and a lot of commitments from all of us. So once again, thank you very much, and we're looking forward to work with each of you.
Thank you so much, Kesalau, for all this. And now we have some time left for our discussion. I would like to open the discussion by quoting Mrs. Ayupi. She said that the project would be most ambitious, most needed, and it would be considered by the Ministry of Justice as a major project. I mean, it's very nice to hear those words, but of course, we have to fulfill our tasks first of all. I think I forgot to mention that the project will be for 3 years, including this month, so until January 2024. And right now, I mentioned it before, we have finalized our inception report. We have received a lot of comments from our colleagues on our proposals, and the work plan, which goes in line with the inception report, we drafted as well right now for 1 year. And of course, we need a lot of support from all of you that we are on track and that we are doing the right project. So most needed is fine, but still that doesn't give any guarantee for doing the right thing. And this means that we will stay in very close contact to all of you. We'll have a lot of discussions and meetings further on. Always get your feedback and be sure that we are and keep the right track. Now, one thing that I think most of you mentioned is that the first time a project heads for getting all beneficiaries together. So we call it interinstitutional coordination mechanism, which we will, or which we have as our result 1-1. So you can see that we consider this to be of utmost importance, since the information is that never a real cooperation between the institutions existed before. Maybe this is a little bit provocative, but probably somebody could give an answer to this. Like, for example, you, Mr. Fesulahu, if I may ask you. You're muted. Yes, please now. It should work. Enver? I asked a question which was for you, if, as to your knowledge, there has ever been a kind of mechanism that allowed the institutions to work, to cooperate together.
I think he has frozen.
Could somebody step in? Gülsün, maybe? Plandera?
I will only shortly answer that we didn't have a direct mechanism to cooperate, but is more or less is the institutions are obliged to cooperate with each other, but it depends somehow. In the past, they were ad hoc cooperation, I would say, based on the needs that they are to cooperate with each other. But it is, of course, much better if you have a concrete mechanism to support the processes and to work together. But all the justice sector institutions, they have and they should cooperate with each other. But sometimes it depends on the persons also who are leading the institutions. I think through this project, we will make much easier, much concreter to work with each other. But of course, I will give a floor also to my colleague Lülzin a little bit. Thank you.
Just shortly to explain the idea when we applied for the project, why we have also added this very important component on the coordination of the institutions within the sector. The main reason was that so far there is no any permanent coordination mechanism which brings all the heads of the institutions, judicial institutions, in one place, and they discuss about the problems, they discuss about the reforms, they discuss about the further activities. We have seen that during the functional review process, which has took more than 4 years, there was no any body, if I call like this, which sits in one place and discuss about, particularly about the judicial problems. There were some bodies organized, let's say the Prime Minister called the heads of the judiciary, and they discussed along with the Minister of Justice about different issues regarding the justice sector, but there was no any mechanism. And all the reason behind was to create this, let's say, sustainable mechanism, which in the process of European integration, let's say when we receive the questionnaire for being the candidate country for access to the EU, there will be hundreds of the questions only for the justice sector. All bodies, they need to sit together. They need to sit in one place. They need to discuss about the certain issues. That was a logic behind why we have, let's say, introduced this component to this project. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So this is the idea about it, that the cooperation does not depend on who is now just leading an institution and if this person now is eager for cooperation or not, but to have an institutionalized cooperation in place, which allows ongoing, real exchange of ideas and activities to be discussed further on. So, does everybody agree with this idea, or is there some opposition maybe to be found, if I may ask, or other ideas how such a cooperation should be probably institutionalized? No, so everybody agrees, which is fine.
Hi, Geraldine Bosnardo from the USAID Justice Activity. I would like to compliment you on this activity. I think it's a great idea to have institutionalized cooperation, and hope that I think probably we both have had enough experience to know that oftentimes people talk about cooperation, but when it gets right down to cooperating, it doesn't get done very well. So I hope that with a mechanism in place, that's really going to facilitate that process. And I congratulate you on instituting that. Initiating it is the better word. Sorry.
Thank you very much, Geraldine. So we can count on your support as well, I assume. Yeah. So,
are you hearing me now?
Yes, sure.
Volmar, I apologize because I had some difficulties with our network.
Yeah, no problem, but you're still with us.
This is another challenge that we have to deal with.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the internet connection through the government is very low, and so that is one of the challenges that we as Academy of Justice was facing. And so recently we did purchase, our private internet connection. So as we were discussing, it's a significant, how to frame it. It's a quite a bit of work that has been to be done. As we discussed, as I was, many times discussed also with your experts and all that. In this position, I'm almost, for a year. There has been, a significant and working and strengthening, you know, the institution. I don't know, Volkmar, I'm talking in a subject matter because I was having difficulties listening you. Are you hearing me?
Yeah, but it's interrupted again now.
No, okay. Because, you know, I just heard that you have given, you know, passed me the floor and nothing else.
No, right now we can hear you. It's interrupted from time to time.
So the challenges, you know, of the challenges, the work plan that we will be facing is quite a bit of part of that, you know, are many issues. I think Inception report, you know, did highlight it. What are the most common and most, you know, challenges that we will be working. This issue has
Enver, you are not to be heard again. No. It does not work. So may I ask for a contribution from someone from the councils? Mr. Chochai, is he still with us? No, he's not. Geraldine, you wanted to say something? No? Because you're muted. Okay. So, may I ask for any other contribution on the subject?
Yeah, if I may so.
Sure, everybody is invited.
Yeah. Good morning.
Good morning, Eric.
Also on behalf of the Center for International Legal Cooperation, I greet you and I congratulate you at the start of this new important project. As you know, I've been working in Kosovo for quite some years as well in different projects. So happy to see a lot of old acquaintances that are now in very important positions. I just want to make a positive note on this interinstitutional cooperation, because I think that the institution that ENVO is representing, the Kosovo Judicial Academy, is a good example of exactly a topic and an institution around which all the different players have already for many years cooperated in a good spirit in the councils, but also taking into consideration the input from the different stakeholders, the judiciary, the prosecution, the donors, and even civil society. So I think that that structure where there is already that cooperation could be further enlarged. And I fully agree with the speakers of the ministry that this is of eminent importance. But I just wanted to make that positive note that there are already good examples where this interinstitutional cooperation is already working, I think, in quite a good way. Thank you.
Oh, now I'm muted. Thank you very much, Eric, for your contribution. So, anybody else with a comment?
If I may?
Please.
Hello.
Yes.
Hi. Hello,
Hi.
everyone. I am Ritva Vahakoski, Chief of Correctional Unit in ULEX. And as it was said in the opening speech, so you can count on ULEX's support to this very important project and the collaboration with you. Briefly so, thank you.
Thank you.
If I may.
Yes, of course. Chris, go ahead.
Okay, I'm Chris Thompson, the Chief of Party of the USAID-funded commercial justice activity. And I'd like to tag on to Geraldine's and Eric's and Ritva's comments that we're also very, very excited at the prospect of interinstitutional coordination and cooperation. I think we have a pretty good history of doing that. We'd like to continue building it up more. Our area is more aligned towards the commercial area, but it is commercial justice. We think that this program is going to be an excellent one. We really would like to work together as much as possible to coordinate and collaborate. And we're very happy to take part in meetings like this to discuss where we are, where we want to go, and figure out where does our assistance fit best within the larger context of both Kosovo and the multiple projects. So I want to thank you very much for inviting us to take part in this kickoff. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris. I mean, it is self-explanatory that you are invited since we are cooperating with you, as far as I know. So your project as well is a main player for our efforts, I think, or a main contributor to our efforts. Thank you very much, Chris. So may I ask for additional contributions, comments, critique, harsh critique? Nothing to be criticized in our project.
Theobald, can I?
Sure, go ahead.
Ma herët po të probleme, unë isha I kyqe dëgjësha juve më pas mu isha mu kyqe, kështu që ngritet çështjen e një mekanizmi që lejon apo mundson bashkëpunimin interinstitucional. Pajtonëm ato që tha edhe Eriku, po edhe Krysi në perspektivën e tij, institucionet tona të drejtësisë padyshim që ne bashkëpunojmë në shumë çështje që me cilat apo shumë sfida me cilat përballemi. Është e vërtetë që nështë nuk kemi një mekanizëm apo një emër të caktuar që mundson këtë bashkëpunim, por vazhdimisht e tha edhe Eriku nëse e kuptova mirë që Akademia e Drejtësisë ndoshta është një institucion që shpeshherë na bashkon në punën tonë të bashkët. Me po besoj që përmes programit të ri ky bashkëpunim do të fuqizohet apo do të forcohet edhe me të tjerë, edhe më shumë. Kaq fort, Andrej.
Thank you, Mr. Chochai. Thanks a lot. So from what I can hear, everybody is very much in favor of the idea of an interinstitutional coordination mechanism. We will get the support from all the institutions. And I would now either ask for more comments, contributions, or if this is not the case, I would then start to finalize slowly but surely our kickoff event. Anybody else who wants to contribute?
Mr. Mokvar, if I can, on behalf of Ministry of Justice and Public Administration of Republic of Croatia, also to say that we are really privileged to be part of the consortium that will help in shaping concrete ideas, aspirations, and goals respected Kosovo's institutions. I was listening very carefully to speeches of Mr. Selim presented by Ms. Jupi Pranvera, Mr. Skender, Mr. Yetish, and Mr. Enver, their opening remarks. My institution can really identify and correlate with all that was said. They have shown the gratefulness and to all donors to projects implemented there. But let me say that Croatia also had a great belief in faith in all our international partners. But however, the real change in the Republic of Croatia started after our institutions and judiciary, of course, included, started taking the leading role. Because the big why behind projects and flagship initiatives in the judiciary, of course, is the strengthening the rule of law. But in our experience, the key element in ensuring the feasible impact is full local ownership of projects, and also that they are demand driven by the beneficiaries themselves. So in that context, my ministry, as part of the consortium, offers through partnership long-term friendly cooperation all our experience, good and bad, I must say, expertise. We, Ministry of Justice and Public Administration, strongly support Kosovo on its EU integration path and reform process. We see that as an essential framework of future institutional relations, even beyond this project. So we believe that our approach and is based on true friendship and cooperation will be further reinforced by the contribution of Mr. Christian Turkalj, who was ex-State Secretary in Ministry of Justice, in his capacity as a component leader. So just to conclude, we are also keen to welcome you in Zagreb. We noticed that this is a part of envisioned activities once the general circumstances allow so. So it will be a great opportunity to exchange views regarding our judicial and legal systems and to further access possibilities for enhancing our cooperation. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sedic, especially for inviting us to the Ministry of Justice and Public Administration in Zagreb. We would be eager to visit you without any doubt. And thanks for your contribution as well, of course. Yes, you're muted.
No, thank you, Volkmar, and yeah, really looking forward to future cooperation with you and all our esteemed colleagues from Germany, Netherlands, and of course from Kosovo. Thank you.
Thanks. Yes, thanks a lot. One thing that I forgot to mention, and from what I heard was not mentioned during the presentations and keynotes as well, is of course the many projects that were already implemented. And I can assure you that we will do every effort to build on the results of the previous projects, where of course we would need your help, input and support again, and as well, not to forget about the projects that were undertaken before and were probably reaching good results, where now we hope to build upon. Now, in case there are no other comments or contributions.
Volkmar, may I just continue where I started? I really
yeah, sure, Enver. Sorry.
I really apologize. I saw, you know, as I was talking, it's international, or, you know, let me say, you know, interinstitutional coordination and communication, you know, that is a challenge. I think not only in Kosovo, but everywhere. Why I'm saying that? I'm saying that because, as I said, best practices, maybe, in my opening remarks, you did notice when I mentioned that, best practices, best practices. Of course, sustainability, ownership, those are aims. Those are, the guarantees for a successful implementation of the reform. And when we say about implementation or successful, that means, workable institution in rule of law area in Kosovo. So, maybe, as you remember in many discussions, many debates that I had with you, with your experts, and also, with some other professionals here and partners here, is, for institution models, or how to say, the model that would work the best is the model, that is Kosovo model. I'm in line with that. This is, how I see, that every kind of, effort, any kind of activity that we do is, we do in a Kosovo context. Of course, taking in consideration, the differences that we have in the legal aspects, in the system aspects, in all of that, also from the EU countries. I think, the standards and values are same. It's improving the quality of justice, serving people whom we serve and whom believed us to serve. That is, our main objective. That is, how I see the main objective of all these reforms and all activity reforms that are there. As I said in my opening remarks, it's a great pleasure. I'm really satisfied when I see such much people here in this, even that we are virtually, seeing everyone, trying to give the best, trying to give, to bring their experiences, to bring, their values, and to bring it together and help us, to adjust and to strengthen our capacities in the best model that is workable for Kosovo. So we have to remember that all the time. The best model is that one that works in Kosovo and that works the best for Kosovars. This is, what I think we are in that stage. It's, it's 20 years, after the war. And I think, time is, for us, for Kosovo, for all the partners to really strengthen, this institution and really, move forward strategically and valuably. So I don't have doubts about, your team and our partners here and our colleagues here that we will do the best. The inception report, the work plan, it's really, how to say, is in such a short term, like, a month and a half, and building, such a report and such a work plan. I'm really excited about that. But as I said in my open remarks, it's such much work that has to be done, and it's just such a much little time we have. So I think this is, this is the message that I would bring, from the Academy of Justice. Particularly, I'm saying for the Academy of Justice, because as everyone knows, our institutional capacities are, very lack. Our resources are, very limited. It's one question that I did many times in many forums, including, in the Assembly, including, with other ministries and all that. The Academy of Justice is important for us to understand and to know what kind of institutional value brings to range of the institution in Kosovo, particularly in rule of law. What kind of value our Academy of Justice is bringing in KJC, in KPC, in courts, in legal aid, in free legal professions. I think this is the time. This is the great momentum that we can frame that we can pretty much determine that, okay, this is the Academy of Justice. This kind of value, institutional value, brings to our life, to our professional life. So, once again, Mr. Tolbolt and everyone else, we are very excited. There is a lot of work to be done. I think we are in the right track, but still, there's going to be a lot of work to be done. And so everyone's help, everyone's advice, everyone's expertise is very welcome. And we're looking forward for that. Thank you.
Thank you again very much, dear Enver. I'm now starting with my wrap up. meaning that I would just come back to what we heard and assure you, Enver, since you mentioned the Kosovo model a couple of times, that we will not do any copy-paste effort. So we take whatever model, quote unquote, from whatever country and put it on you, telling you that this is the one you have to adapt. No, for sure not. And you know that we will elaborate or try to elaborate all our efforts, activities, and result in cooperation with you to have a tailor-made and need-oriented approach, as I said at the very beginning, and not to tell you, now you do this, now you do that, now you copy-paste from whatever country what they did before. This is not our approach, and I can assure everybody of you that we will do everything to follow your ideas and needs and discuss, of course, where your ideas need to be discussed, but we will not tell you to copy-paste anything from elsewhere. So take me by the word, take this for granted. Now, allow me to finalize this event by thanking all of you, especially our keynote speakers, starting with the ambassador who has already left because he had other assignments, as I just was informed, and thanking our colleagues from the Ministry of Justice, Mrs. Pranvera Ayupi, Mr. Lulzim Bechiri, and of course, Minister Salimi as well, and the colleagues from the Kosovo councils, Mr. Chochai, Mr. Maloku, and of course, Mr. Fezulahu from the Kosovo Judicial Academy, and not to forget the General Director of the IRZ, Mrs. Bachler. Thanks to all of you, and thanks to our participants out in the world as well. And I will not forget to mention that this event was broadcasted via YouTube on the YouTube channel of the EU office, and I assume that this event can be seen now for a couple of days, weeks, or months at YouTube. So if you want to see all of this nice event again, feel free to search for it. I will for sure do it and forward the link if available. So let me take the opportunity and thank my team as well for the very, very, very hard efforts they undertook to finalize the inception report and the work plan in close cooperation with all of you in a very short time. And as already mentioned, in the afternoon, we will have our first steering committee, where I hope that our work plan and inception report will find your approval. And I would like to thank our colleagues from IRZ who supported and helped us in a very, very nice and effective way. So thanks to all of you, and I wish you a nice day and a nice afternoon. See you all soon. Bye-bye.
Thank Thank you, Volkmar. It was very wonderful. See you soon.
See you, Geraldine.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. See you
Tschüss,
later.
Volkmar.
Tschüss, Eric.
Bye. Goodbye. Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Volkmar. Bye.
Bye, Trine. Went very well.